My name's Adrian. We're going to be going over how to read a workout and everything that you need to know to get started. We cover quite a few things in this video, so if you want something specific, there are key terms down below or links to our other guides, so that way you can get the most out of this. So for a workout, we're going to have sets, reps, rest. Then after that, usually we'll have tempo and intensity or difficulty. A set is just a grouping of repetitions. So every time I do one of these curls, that's a repetition. The grouping of these would be a set. So for a workout, you might see 3 sets of 12. That means doing 12 here, then resting. That would be 1 set, and I would do that 3 times. Each repetition has aspects to it. There's the concentric part, which is when the muscle is producing tension and shortening. The eccentric part, which is when the muscle is lengthening, getting longer and still producing tension. There is also the transition between the two, as in time up top and time at the bottom. How fast you do each one of those is called tempo, designated by 4 numbers or letters. The first letter is the eccentric, then the pause, then the concentric, and the pause. So if you see the tempo 3, 2, 1, X, that means we're gonna go 3 seconds down, 1, 2, 3, a 2-second pause at the bottom, 1, 2, up under 1 second, and no time at the top to go right into the next exercise. That's gonna be tempo. There is also isometrics, which is where the muscle is producing tension, but there is no change in length. Something like this here, or something like a plank. Or also like a wall sit where my legs are really working here, but there's no motion or change of length that's really going on. Isometrics are usually listed in time. When we're doing a repetition, we also have range of motion or ROM. Range of motion is simply just how far my joint, in this case my elbow, can move. Full range of motion means I'm going to my elbows all the way open, all the way up top until my elbow is all the way closed. This is full range of motion. With most exercises, we want to be doing full range of motion. Some exercises don't use the full range of motion all the time. With the curl at variation 21s, where I'm doing some full range of motion exercises, some with the top half, and then some with the bottom half. Doing some reps in this lengthened position is what's called a lengthened partial range of motion. I'm not doing the full thing. I'm only doing part of it, and I'm doing it in the lengthened part compared to this top part while my bicep is shorter in this position. Lengthened partial, shortened partial. We always want to express as much range of motion as we can when doing an exercise without pain. So if an exercise just doesn't say anything, it's the full range of motion. How difficult an exercise is also matters. This is usually when we're talking about in terms of intensity. 8 repetitions with these is not going to produce the same effect on my muscle as 8 repetitions here where I'm really actually straining with this exercise. Going to failure refers to when you actually can't do another repetition, which is probably right here. Ooh, that's about failure. I physically could not do another repetition there. That's what's considered going to failure. We also have the term called reps in reserve, which is how many repetitions I think I have left. In that exercise, I had 0. There were no repetitions left. I ended the set. I do not think I could do another one. Now, reps in reserve is a great tool to dictate difficulty of a set, but it takes a lot of practice in figuring out how many repetitions you have left. Really quick, to talk about rating or perceived exertion is just how difficult you feel like a set was or something is. Usually on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 out of 10 being at failure or reaching kind of failure during your set. I like rating perceived exertion a little bit more when it comes to like cardio-based things, conditioning-based things, or like circuit training, if that makes sense. Things where tracking reps might be a little bit more difficult, and I like RIR more for strength and anything where they were just counting reps. There's also intensity. Intensity is usually a percentage, talking about the most you can lift as 100% for 1 rep. If the most I can lift for 1 rep is 50, doing a set at 50% would be using 25 pounds. Intensity doesn't describe how difficult the set is. I can do 50% intensity to failure, or I could do 50% intensity and hardly break a sweat. Usually when we see intensity, it's for stuff like powerlifting, strength training, where our goal is we're only doing a handful of repetitions. Something else that you might see when you're reading your workout is you might see that a set is called a drop set. So a drop set is where we're going to be starting with a weight, and then we're going to make our way down as the set gets harder and we start to struggle. So if we're doing, let's say, 5 reps here, I'm going to do 5 reps. Let's say at the end of my 5th rep, it starts to become super hard. I can't do it. Oh, I'm going to put that weight down, and I'm immediately going to go to the next weight that I have. Usually it's about a 20%-ish drop, sometimes a little bit more. I'm going to do another 5 reps or whatever it says listed in your sets. And then I may drop down another time if it indicates it to keep going. This would be considered pushing beyond failure, because as I can't finish, as I fail with this set and I can't do any more reps, right? My RPE or RIR, reps in reserve, are 0. I drop the weight down so I can continue doing it. Now, how many times you drop the set just depends on what's written in the workout. Now, another thing that might be talked about with your sets is what's called a superset. The superset is going to be over 2 different exercises. They're paired together with no rest in between. So I have a kettlebell, where let's say we were to do kettlebell swings, and we're going to superset this with a dumbbell shoulder press. Right when I finish my swings, the shortest amount of rest I need to pick up the dumbbells and then do my shoulder press set. They're usually 2 different exercises paired together, one right after the other. Once I'm done with this though, I rest. I don't go back to here. The workout will usually tell you how much rest you'll take after the superset. There is also what is called pairing. Pairing would be where I do my kettlebell swings, rest, then do my shoulder press, and then rest again. So while I'm doing these exercises back to back, there is rest in between the 2. This is helpful because when I finish my set of kettlebell swings and I'm here, my legs are going through their recovery cycle. And then when I go to shoulder press, my legs might be a little fatigued, but my shoulders should be pretty fine. That's one of the big benefits of supersets and pairing, is we can get a lot done in a very short amount of time. We also have what's called a circuit. A circuit is where we're going to be doing more than 2 exercises, typically 3 or more. Each exercise either has a station or its own implement, and we're going to go through a series. So here, I might do band curls. After my band curls, I might do my kettlebell swings here. After my kettlebell swings, I might do my shoulder press with the dumbbells here. Now, a circuit doesn't denote how much rest I take in between each station. We need to look at the specific rest that's indicated. While a superset has no rest from one exercise right to the other, a circuit might have no rest, or like with the pairing, we might do one exercise, rest a little bit, go to the next exercise, rest a little bit, go to the next one and rest a little bit. It just depends on what's listed in the rest column. This is also what's considered a vertical set. A vertical set is where we go down the line of exercises from the band curl to the kettlebell swing to the dumbbell shoulder press back up top. Most workouts we do are considered horizontal sets. You do all of your kettlebell swings, all 3 sets, before you move on to the dumbbell shoulder press and do the 3 sets there. Then we move on to the band curls and do 3 sets there. Just depends on how the workout is organized and what's listed. Very similar to a circuit, we have what's called a complex. A complex is where I'm going to do multiple exercises with one piece of equipment. So let's say here I do a few squats, then immediately into a few shoulder press, immediately into some bent rows, immediately into some Romanian deadlifts. That would be a complex. I go from one exercise right into the next, usually with one piece of equipment. Typically, complexes don't have rest in between each exercise, but that isn't a rule. That is just something we see. So again, check to see how the workout is listed if there's rest in between each exercise. So circuits, we have stations, usually different pieces of equipment. Complex, one piece of equipment, one spot we do all the exercises. I wanted to go over what these actually look like. So this is going to be a program from My Fitness Academia, which is a monthly recurrent program that we use. And we wanted to give you a really good example of pairing, supersets, circuits, vertical sets, and the horizontal sets, everything we just kind of talked about. So here you see in green, we have 1A, 1B. This lets us know if these exercises are put together, right? How do we know if it's a superset or not? Well, we look at the rest. Here, there's a rest after each one of them. So we do the dumbbell snatch, then we rest 60 to 90 seconds, we do the TRX knee tuck, rest 60 to 90 seconds, and then we're going to do that for how many sets we have, which is 2 to 3 times, right? That is what we'd say is a vertical set. You do this, and then we do this, and then we rest, and then we do it again for how many sets we have. A superset, and this is a pairing. So they're put together, but they're not a superset. A superset, in this spot right here, we would just have an X or a 0. You do the dumbbell snatch, and then immediately go into the TRX knee tuck. Now that might sound like semantics, but that's just what the difference is between a pairing and a superset. Then we have the circuit here. Now the circuit 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, again the 2 and then the letters denote that they're together. There is no rest, so we're just going to go boom all the way through it for 2 to 3 times with as minimal rest as we need. Now this circuit could be written with 30 seconds of rest in between each one. That still lets us know it's a circuit. Circuit just gives us an idea that there's more than 2 exercises put together. Down here we have straight sets. So you'd see it says dumbbell incline fly. We have 1 to 3 sets, and we have 45 to 60 seconds of rest. We're going to do all the dumbbell flies, all the dumbbell incline flies, until we're done with them. When we're done with them, we're going to move on to preacher curls. This is how most workouts are done, is just horizontal set. You do all the way through it, and when you're done, you move on to the next thing. You just check it off the box. But this is what it would look like. This is the visually what circuits, vertical sets, horizontal sets, pairings, and supersets would look like from a programming standpoint. If this all sounds really awesome, but you need a lot more help, like guidance or kind of accountability, we have a bunch of different kind of programs that can really help you out. From everything that's just kind of like a pre-templated program once a month, to very customizable, deep kind of accountability to make sure you reach your goals. If any of those sound awesome, click the link down below to book a call or shoot me an email here. I'd love to chat.